chaos reigns. As long as there have been vampires, there has been the Slayer, one girl in all the world, to find them where they gather to stop the spread of their evil and the swell of their numbers. Around Sunnydale, they say a scarecrow saturated with Halloween rain will come alive and slaughter anyone in sight. Lovely place, Sunnydale. Buffy's best friends, Xander and Willow, used to think that the tale was nonsense, but after a few adventures with Buffy, they're not so sure. Even without a maniacal scarecrow, a Sunnydale Halloween is a truly horrific happening. There are enough zombies and vampires about, ready to party hardy and eat some brains, to keep the Slayer and her friends up all night. And then the rain starts to fall.
Mr. Mayor, I don't care what happens to your tourist season. Somebody has to tell these people that they might need a jacket.
In my mission to analyze Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I want to analyze all of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, including its tie-in novels. These are much less of a priority, given that they aren't considered canon and weren't worked on by anyone major like Joss Whedon. Though Joss technically has to approve of the books before they go to print, he has said that he has never actually read one all the way through. They should be considered authorized fan fiction. Though I bought several of them, I never got around to reading most of them, so these will be new for me. I'll be able to compare it to the show, but not to other tie-in novels. This should be interesting.
Maybe have weekly dinners over here, or a book club.
The very first Buffy tie-in novel is Halloween Reign, by the main writers of the Buffy tie-in novels, Christopher Golden and Nancy Holder. The cover makes use of what I suppose must be a promotional image for the show, showing Buffy and Giles looking up from reading that vampire book that Giles sets down in Season 1, Episode 1, Welcome to the Hellmouth. The two characters bizarrely look almost straight ahead, like they're glaring at the reader for spying on them. I actually feel a little uncomfortable looking at it. Shouldn't book covers be inviting? Halloween Reign was written after the conclusion of the first season, and is set somewhere between Season 1, Episode 6, The Pack, and Season 1, Episode 7, Angel. It was published on November 1st, 1997, ironically just missing Halloween and directly following the first Halloween-themed episode, Season 2, Episode 6, Halloween, which aired October 27th of that year. And here is the main oddity of the book. It contradicts later canon that would have appeared to have just been established 5 days ago, and says Halloween is the demon's day off. This rule is maintained in the other Halloween episodes, Season 4, Episode 4, Fear Itself, and Season 6, Episode 6, All the Way. Sure, something always ends up happening, but it's always running contrary to the rule that nothing ever happens on Halloween.
And everything can happen on Halloween. It's better than a video.
Halloween Reign presents Halloween as the most demonic day of the year, and an annual challenge for the Slayer. It is really weird to read this as someone who has watched all the show and understands the rule. Buffy has a lot of retcons, but to have the rule so thoroughly contradicted in the book is pretty surreal. Actually, the whole book has a lot of obsolete assumptions about the Buffyverse. The acknowledgements page makes a reference to Buffyland, aka Boca del Infierno. While Boca del Infierno was the original name given to the Sunnydale region, the portal to hell is almost exclusively referred to as the Hellmouth, which is a more marketable English translation and more suitable for the Scooby's slang-filled dialogue. The fact that Chris and Nancy think it's the proper label is charming.
This is surreal.
The book opens the night before Halloween, which might be called All Hallows Eve. Buffy does her usual patrolling in the cemetery. Though the show has the multiple cemeteries as relatively normal, Halloween Reign imagines the single cemetery as demonic in appearance, like how a haunted house reveals the character of its setting. The cross grave markers are actually inverted crosses of Satan worship. The statues of people in prayer are actually statues of people holding up threatening claws. Most amusing is the sentence describing angel statues that look like devils. Weeping stone angels became laughing devils. Where's the doctor when you need him?
I've seen every episode of Doctor Who.
Because Halloween is so demonic, Buffy and Giles expected to have to face all sorts of demonic threats all throughout October, but the forces of evil have been strangely absent. Buffy is tense because she realizes that something big must be coming. When a girl starts screaming bloody murder, Buffy rushes to the rescue. She sees a male figure holding her down, struggling on a tomb, his mouth going for her neck, and Buffy kicks the guy off her, grabs a stake, and Oops, no, it's just her classmates. Popular girl Aphrodisia and her boyfriend John, engaged in some sort of sex game, or at least a sexy kissing game given that they're teenagers from a relatively conservative show. Considering they're in public and realistically play acting, I would think that they'd be aware that someone could misunderstand and intervene, but no. Buffy once again comes off as a dangerous weirdo, further damaging her social life. The next day, Halloween, it's overcast in Sunnydale. It looks like rain. Buffy, Willow, and Xander talk about how they used to like Halloween, but don't anymore. They've been traumatized by having to fight actual monsters, and horror movies don't do anything for them anymore. That's pretty grim and sad. I'm glad they're able to get something out of it in the show. Cordelia and Aphrodisia show up to insult them, business as usual. Two guys dressed as werewolves then try to scare Buffy by acting like they're attacking her, and she responds like she's actually being attacked by werewolves. Similar to the film with Buffy dealing with Andy sexually harassing her, everybody once again thinks that Buffy's the one out of line, even though people go out of their way to provoke her. In addition to standard high school harassment, it's kind of a sexist issue because Buffy is acting unexpectedly for a girl, while physical aggression is expected for boys, as with Xander preferring to enter a hopeless fight with Larry than for Buffy to save him, in, oddly enough, Halloween. The end result is Cordelia laughing at her. The Scoobies may find Halloween less enjoyable, but they do like the aspect of dressing up. The Bronze has an annual costume party, so they decide to go, with permission from Giles. Giles warns them that just because demons haven't been active doesn't mean Halloween is like their day off or anything.
Samhain. This isn't Halloween, it's Samhain.
Giles gives exposition on the Celtic origin of Halloween. In doing so, he introduces two Gaelic words, one of which is Samhain, which I know how to pronounce. The other is this one. I cannot for the life of me figure out how to pronounce it. Almost everything I look up says that it and the other word are two spellings of Samhain. Wikipedia says they have different pronunciations, but I can't read its guide. Giles uses them in different ways, though, and I need to be clear, so I'm just gonna butcher the Gaelic and pronounce these like they're English, just because I need to vocally reference the separate words somehow. So, just for this video, these words are Samhain and Samhain. Anyway, the Druids believe that the year ended at the end of October, during the end of summer. They refer to winter as Samhain. Samhain is a dark time when the earthly world and the spiritual world start to combine, and the dead walks among the living. Historically, they were afraid of these creatures that were gods shoehorned in from other religions into evil trickster spirits. Giles says that these were actually Buffyverse demons. Halloween was the start of Samhain, and marked the beginning of a feast to try to control the demons. But because no one believes anymore, the demons will try to take over the earth.
World domination?
Willow and Xander point out that people haven't believed in a long time and no demon takeovers have happened yet. Buffy suggests that demons work like fairies in Peter Pan and start vanishing when no one believes in them anymore, which doesn't make sense at all. All the Watchers would have to do is burn their books and ensure that knowledge of the demons dies with them. This hypothesis is later acknowledged as factual, and it seems like a poor attempt to justify a flaky setup.
Peter Pan complex.
Willow then notes that it looks like rain, and describes a local legend about Halloween rain getting a scarecrow wet, and making it come to life and deliver an extreme punishment to trespassers to its field. Giles notes that scarecrows are associated with Samhain, the king of the dead souls of Samhain. Samhain is an old one that stayed behind on Earth and wasn't sucked into hell like the others, meaning that he's a really big deal. Giles doesn't see anything wrong with them going to the Bronze, though, and he stays at the school to research the Scarecrow legend. Joyce wants to spend the night watching scary movies with Buffy, and she's disappointed that Buffy wants to go hang out with her friends. Joyce says that Willow is a nice girl, but is unsure about Xander. Buffy assures her that there's nothing between them. That might annoy Buffy-Xander shippers, but I think it's best that Buffy has zero romantic feelings for him during his creepy phase. Buffy is wearing a sexy pirate queen outfit. Joyce criticizes it, and Buffy humorously asserts that it's historically accurate. Buffy narrates to the reader that she chose it specifically because it would grant her a lot of mobility for fighting. I kind of have an issue with the way this is phrased. A lot of absurdly sexualized outfits in video games and stuff are defended with the idea that they're good because they can grant mobility, when clearly it's about sex appeal. And there are fighting outfits designed for mobility that look nothing like that. On the other hand, I can accept that Buffy wants to look sexy because that's the kind of girl she is.
The perfect chance for a girl to get sexy and wild with no repercussions.
And the character is built for female empathy far more than the male gaze. Buffy walks cautiously through the rain to the bronze, but she encounters no trouble. The party seems like an excuse to describe a lot of costumes. Xander and Willow are dressed as Mulder and Scully. Cordelia is dressed as Morticia Addams. The bouncer is a hunchback. Everyone's dressed like something. Interestingly, there's a bit about a Native American guy dressed as the Phantom of the Opera, telling off a white guy dressed as a racist caricature of a Native American. The issue of racist costumes is big right now. It's nice to see an early Buffy story criticizing the practice. It's actually better than Buffy the show, as Season 2 Episode 4 Inca Mummy Girl has that foreign culture party, inviting caricatures, and Season 4 Episode 8 Pangs is very apologetic of colonial imperialism. Unfortunately, this progressive bit is then followed up by slut-shaming. Cordelia was flirting with the racist guy. When the Native American tells him off and intimidates him into leaving, Cordelia then flirts with the Native American guy. Buffy watches this with disdain, labeling Cordelia as a major harlot. I guess she's only allowed to flirt with one person per night or something. Buffy joins up with Willow and Xander. Xander is attracted to her while Buffy ignores him. Buffy compliments Willow's attractiveness, trying to get Xander to see that his best friend is attractive, but Xander only has eyes for Buffy. Xander tries to flirt with Buffy by suggesting that she wear a skin-tight leotard, which is interesting because he actually does something like that in Halloween. Buffy retorts that Xander probably has experience wearing one himself, which sounds like more homophobic humor. Yay. Xander threw back his head. Yeah, but I had to hang up my cape. I was always getting typecast as a lovable, decent guy girls were safe around. Not that I'm not, he added quickly. Reconsidered. Or that I am. A man of the 90s, Buffy thought. Xander seems totally confused about the acceptable male aggression level. This highlights a difficulty men of the 90s have in being appreciated by women, and it's good that attention be brought to it because it is related to how men become misogynistic through thinking nice guys finish last or something. There is no resolution offered. It's merely presented that Xander is confused, so I'll try to answer. I'd say that the issue involves a mingling of terms brought on by sexist American Puritanism. Girls are supposed to be asexual and to passively guard their virginity from assertive boys who would supposedly introduce them to sexuality. Confident, sexually assertive boys are then called aggressive and dangerous because they threaten this virginal purity. But virginal purity is an absurd concept that was created to control women, and there's a big difference between sexual assertiveness that could lead girls into exciting situations that their parents wouldn't approve of, and actual sexual aggression and danger. Feminism puts a lot of effort into demonizing actual mean, invasive behavior, but boys can be powerful, romantic, and assertive without being truly dangerous. A good example of this is Angel versus Vampire Jesse. At this point in the show, we don't know a lot about Angel, but he's got the dark, mysterious quality that hints of power, mixed in with physical sex appeal, and heavy flirtation. Most importantly, though, he seems safe. He is Buffy's ally in the fight against evil and is concerned for her safety. On the other hand, Vampire Jesse has the same sexy bad boy quality and absence of safety. Cordelia is fine with him only when she doesn't realize he is literally evil.
Not high school evil.
The audience knows better and would not appreciate Jesse's attention, even if he is sexy, and we worry for Cordelia in his clutches. So that's my answer. Xander and Buffy are working with the wrong framework. Also, while Xander's confusion brings context to his creepy behavior, it doesn't excuse it. If he doesn't understand, he should honestly try to understand. This isn't the feminist blogosphere, he can ask women questions. And then a vampire guy shows up to troll them. There are actually a lot of vamped out vampires present. As it's a Halloween party, they can act as vampiric as they want to without drawing attention. He says that Halloween is a vampire's night off while other demons rampage, and he asks Buffy for a truce, which Buffy reluctantly agrees to because she can't slay vampires in public, even though she did in The Harvest, but I'll give the book a break because everyone went into denial, and Buffy honestly tries to keep things secret.
Like